TV execs are fucking idiots. Like,
Amen.
all the shows being canceled nowadays, like, the worst time for it. Like, we're still kind of quarantined, like, it's semi-quarantine. The sane people are quarantined. And, like, all these shows are being canceled and stuff. Like, was it that policeman you were talking about?
Well, yeah, Police Squad back in
was.
the 80s was canceled. But, yeah, so Police Squad in 1982, I believe, they only got 6 episodes in their first season. And it got canceled after, I believe, the 4th episode aired because the TV executives just didn't think that the audience could follow along.
Yeah.
There were just too many jokes for people to understand.
It's too funny.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Police Squad, it has Leslie Nielsen in the starring role. He was in the Naked Gun trilogy, which was based on Police Squad. He was in a lot of other funny movies. Check it out. It's like $7 to get the DVD box set with Police Squad and the Naked Gun trilogy. $7 on Amazon. Go check it out. It's well worth the money.
Alex, did you get a fucking sponsorship?
No, I just love shilling for Leslie Nielsen.
But no, like I was gonna say though, for
but
more
now speaking of that, you know what else I've been using? I've been using PIA, private internet access, a lot, and watching movies without a VPN, it's like screwing without a condom on. Am I right, fellas?
It's adventurous and thrilling.
No, please use private internet access, or else I won't get paid.
Back to like more modern times, though. A show I've been watching is it's an Adult Swim cartoon called The Venture Brothers. It's a show that aims to make fun of like superhero like comic book tropes and stuff, and like Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Johnny Quest and shit like that. Like Johnny Quest even shows up in the show like as an adult who has like a horrible narcotics problem and shit like that. Because like the idea of it is like, you take this kid who lives through this life, how fucked up are they gonna be at the end of it? Short answer, very fucked up. He gets better though, he goes to rehab. But no, it's a good show. It's funny. It's got some like serious moments and stuff. It's, a good variety. And they canceled it. Like, it's been going on for I think 7 seasons now. 8 is they were working on season 8, but then they got canceled. Pulled the plug right out from it. And it's like, of all the times, like this is quarantine times. People will be watching a lot more TV. B, Marvel is really fucking good in the box office. Same with like DC. They're getting up there now with their fucking lineup for next year. It's like, why would you cancel the show that's parodying that?
Yeah, it just seems like short-sighted decision making.
Yeah, very short-sighted. And it's like, there's still an audience to like watch it. Like there's like millions of people that watch this show, and like a lot of the sense of humor is like kind of like, I guess it's like Rick and Morty if it was like actually how the Rick and Morty fans describe it, where it's smart humor.
Bro, like, man turns himself into a pickle.
Yeah.
What's not to get?
Oh my god. No, but I mean like Rick and Morty fans hold the show up to such a high regard though. Like you won't get it. It's so high IQ and stuff, and like I think there's a difference between a smart show and a show with smart humor. Like, smart humor is like jokes that an adult would get and a kid won't get. Like, they're the jokes that SpongeBob gives your parents. Like, you don't get them as a kid, but when you're smarter and older, you get them.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty has a lot of, like, kids show comedy in it. There's some dark comedy, but there's a lot of kids show ones. Like, Pickle Rick. Like, that's I'm fairly certain the Wonder
Bro,
Pets
the
have done
man
that.
literally turns himself into a pickle. He turns himself into a pickle.
I wouldn't say that's a smart joke. That's just that's like a meme. And it died in the same length a meme does.
But no, Jared, like, you get it, right?
Yeah, he turns himself into a pickle.
It's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
God damn it.
But no, another show that got canceled when it really shouldn't have is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I think, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was canceled by one network, and then like the next day it was picked up by another network because fans wanted to see more of it because it was an insanely popular show.
Yeah. Wasn't it canceled again?
Not that I know of. Family Guy got canceled a lot of times, but that's just because of kind of other reasons.
Futurama got canceled a lot. Like, I'm gonna stand on this hill until I die. Futurama is the greatest fucking, like, animated comedy. Like,
it's definitely up there. I haven't seen a lot of it, but from what I've seen, it's so good.
Oh, it's great. I fucking watched the whole series, the movies and all. They're all just fucking amazing. The characters and everything, they're all lovable and likable. Even the asshole ones, like Zap Brannigan. Like, he may just be, like, the worst human being alive, but you can't help but love him. It's a great show. Like, been canceled, like, 24 times, though. Like, they got canceled so much. Matt Groening and the other writers decided that for the final episode, they just make it a time travel paradox. So, like, it will never be canceled again. Like, it will just constantly be looping through the whole series.
And that's how you do it.
Like, it's just insane to me, though. It's like, how many times are you going to cancel this fucking show?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how you become a TV executive or like a movie studio executive, but I think one of the qualifications is you just have to be the stupidest person alive.
Oh, probably. I mean, look
every
at the shows
time you see a movie that had a lot of studio interference, it always turns out bad. X-Men Origins Wolverine, a lot of studio interference. It turned out bad. Green Lantern, a lot of studio interference. It turned out bad. You never see a movie that was like, yeah, the director didn't really get to do what he wanted to. Studio stepped in a lot. But like, it still turned out to be a good movie. You know, it's probably better, you know, because the execs stepped in. They never make it better, but they always have to, you know, change. You know, I think if you just made this adjustment on page 3 of the script, you know, it would be a lot better. They're never correct.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, and it's because they have this idea that they know what people want to see. Like, yeah, they probably know, like, the things people like to see in the ratings and stuff, but here's the thing about a story. A story works if all of the elements that are brought up into it fit together. Throwing something into it just for the sake of trying to, like, please a crowd of people gums it up a bit. Like, it could be something so mundane, like a character that feels out of place in the universe or something. Like for example,
well, they're just marketing majors that think they know how to tell a story.
Like, okay, imagine this. Think of a cowboy show. Like it's Wild West, the cowboys everywhere, and you get a pirate that looks like Jack Sparrow, and he just shows up one day. Like, he looks like he could be in the same time, but he just feels out of place, and it kind of just, like, you see the show, and you see him walk around in it, he's like a side character, and it's like, you don't understand why he's there, and it bothers you. You watch it, and it's like, you want to focus on the story, but you keep focusing on this pirate. That's an executive decision in most movies. It's just a small decision that seems like
the
it would
pirate
make...
is the executives.
Yeah, basically. Like, they just... You'd be watching a show, and then something happens that you know was made by someone outside of, like, the writer's room, because it just feels not, like, connected with everything. It's like, what is it? Disjointed. Like the pirate thing I was explaining, because it's like, all of a sudden, there's a whole different, like, design going on here, but you're supposed to ignore that and look at all this stuff. But he's part of that stuff too sometimes. He'll come in occasionally, but he doesn't really do much. He's just kind of there for the fans. Or it'd be like how like Halo 5, for example, that's a game. It doesn't really have the same, like, I guess, example, but it's like a similar kind of thing where it's like a studio messing with stuff, except it's like, the company actually making the game. But it's just a thing that it feels like a studio executive decision where it's like you have another character introduced that's better than the main character, but he's like just so bland and generic.
Yeah. Well, to reference Fact Fiend again, they just uploaded a video today about Sonic Boom. And basically, yeah, the people at Sega, they interfered so much with the development. Like they told the people making it to just write out entire characters. Like they had characters planned for certain sequences, and they were like, yeah, just scrap them. There's still dialogue in action scenes that's there that references these characters that they didn't take out. And so they're talking to people that aren't there. They also wanted to do a character that like invents stuff, but then Sega was like, no, Tails invents stuff. You can't have another inventor.
That's even worse studio meddling. The legacy edition kind of guys, where it has to be the original characters. It's like, I'm all for a show continuing with the original characters, but you have to add new things in every so often.
You gotta do something to make it fresh.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a long-running series of anything. Movies, TV, games.
Like, I really want, like, I have dreams of making a show and, like, having it go on to have, like, spin-off series and shit. And, like, even I know, even though, like, the show's probably gonna be shit because it's my idea, you still gotta, like, have some, like, connectivity to all of it. Like, you can't just have it be, like, oh, yeah, now all of a sudden, it's a new group of people. You're gonna watch them. You're gonna love them. They have blue hair. That makes them cool now, yeah? It's like, no, you gotta like make sure it's fitting in with like the universe you've already built and stuff.
Yeah, there's certainly a balance that you have to strike between making it fresh and not making it alien.
Yeah. Like
Korra tries to do this with like featuring like, the characters from the original show, and then they do a lot of new stuff. It just happens that it's just not good.
Oh yeah. And even then it's just like, that's just how they want their story to be told. Some people will like it, some people won't. That's perfectly fine. But say for example, if in Korra, like they introduced a new character who was not the Avatar, but stronger than the Avatar.
You mean like, the Dark Avatar? Or anyone that Korra fights in the show?
Yeah. But, okay. Villains, you get more of a slide because they're supposed to be more powerful. They're supposed to be like the challenge. So it's like, you can stretch it a little bit. But if it's like a side character with like no character development, but has like all these powers, and it's like a Mary Sue, where like they just exist to be the best. Like that's annoying. That's annoying, and
that
it's
is
like
true.
Insulting to look at.
That is true. But in Korra, she gets her ass handed to her in the Avatar state.
Yeah, and like
the Avatar state is supposed to be just Mary Sue mode. In the original show, it was difficult to access, and even when Aang could, there were other external reasons that he couldn't use it because, it would just be poor writing if he could just turn Super Saiyan whenever he wants to. In Korra, she unlocks the Avatar state. She can just go into it at will, just whenever she wants. She uses it in a lot of fights, and then she just loses anyway, because they have to weaken the Avatar state to justify her using it and, making it like a fair fight. I guess you could say.
Like, you could have it with story reasons why. Like, it could be like a toned down version or whatever, or like these people, like maybe she is more like at peace, like body, mind, and soul than Aang was, and so she can access it faster, but all these people are stronger because it's like new shit that like, is being introduced, like, because it's supposed to take
Yeah,
place
see, I don't
in
know
the
about
future.
that.
Like, it's supposed to take place in the future where there's, like, new technologies and shit. Right? That's Korra. Where it's, like,
Yeah, it
industry
basically
is growing.
takes place in, like, a steampunk idealized version of 1920s New York.
I see, a way they could go around with that to make it, like, more interesting is have, like, people invent new, like, technologies that can, like, you know, that are, like, better than bending, I guess. Like,
Well, they do that.
it. Oh, yeah. But, like, do they actually, like, do something interesting with it? Or is it just, oh, that exists now?
It's just steampunk 1920s New York. I wouldn't call it interesting. I would just call it closer to what we have now.
Yeah,
so, like, instead of, like, you know how, like, in Omashu and Ba Sing Se, a lot of stuff was powered by earthbending? Their mail system is powered by earthbending. Yeah, they had a earthbending powered train system. Now it's just cars and regular trains. So it kind of takes some of the magic out of it.
No, I feel like, though, that could be a good, like, story, like, elements to add to it. Like, maybe there's, like, maybe instead of just being gasoline or steam powered or something, there's, like, a more efficient, like, methods of transportation or something. Or, like, some, like, new element that someone discovered or some shit. Where it's, like, making all these old forms of transportation obsolete and stuff. And, like, bending is slowly becoming a thing of the past because it's, like, the rise of new technological advancements.
Well, that's basically what happened in the show.
Oh, yeah, but I want to see that. Like, you could do that instead of having, like, oh, this guy's like the Avatar, but stronger. Like, maybe, you know, they just are waterproof. Boom. He wins. Maybe he just has a tank that isn't, you know, made out of aluminum foil. Like, you could, like, think of something, like, interesting to, like, have this, like, plot where it's, like, you know how, like, Red Dead Redemption, like, the cowboy game, it's supposed to be, like, the whole story is, like, the cowboy lifestyle is, like, slowly being faded out, and, like, the whole story is basically John Marston's, like, stomping out the last bits of it before he himself is killed, because he's the last, like, remnant of it. And it's supposed to be, like, this change from, like, this old Wild West to, like, the revolution of the industry, the industrial age and shit. Like, you could do something like that, except with magic.
I mean, to a degree, that's what happens in Korra.
Yeah,
there's
but, like,
a lot of story potential. They set up a lot of stuff that seems like it's gonna be really, really good, but then the writers just kind of drop the ball on it.
You see, now that's the problem with just writing. Like, they have the potential, but they want to go in different directions. But the directions they want to go are the, you know, like, natural progression for what they've already built up. Like, they want to do things that they think the audience would like, but it's like, you know, it's the same problem with studio interference. They think people want to see this. It's just that people want to see what the story is leading up to. And I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. That's why, like, all these... you first.
You can go.
I was gonna say, like, to me, I feel like that's why most people don't like it when, like, there's all of a sudden something that's, like, kind of alien or foreign added to something that they're not used to. They don't like it at all. It's like, you know, it's normal, but is it normal for the universe? Like, does it feel in place and stuff? I feel like that might be slightly agreeing with some things I don't agree with. Someone could probably use that as a vague defense of theirs. I'm gonna say this right now. Gay people belong in Star Wars, and I'll fight anyone who says no.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no. Okay, gay people do exist in other shows, and they should. So
gay people exist in real life, so why shouldn't they exist in movies?
100% yes. But what I'm gonna say though is like that stereotype gay character they always have, the one where it's like
the token gay, like Will and Grace gay.
Yeah, where it's like either like hyper feminine and stuff, or it's like or it's this character because they're trying to get on like the progressive sides where it's like they're the strongest, most independent person alive. those
yeah,
characters.
I hate it when they do like